What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to be diving back into the SoRare streets, getting ourselves ready for the weekend slate, which is week 5 over on SoRare. What we're going to do today, I want to go value hunting, but this time, value in the MVP slot. With the new limited champion being rolled out this past week, figured now we could take some time and be like, hey, I don't want to break the bank. What are some potential MVPs that we can see pop? A great example for what we've seen so far is Paul George putting up that monster number. And again, not as expensive as some of these other guys that we've seen. So we're going to dive in today. Of course, if you are new to SoRare, if this is their first time checking it out, take a look at the link in the show notes and sign up for SoRare today using our link. You'll get those 20 free common cards to get yourself started for the common free tournaments, right? So you don't even have to spend a freaking dollar yet. And then if you buy 5 cards off the marketplace, you're going to get a 6th one free. So definitely sign up. It also helps us out, makes us look good, and we like that. Also, we're going to be using Momentum Labs today. We'll be using momentumlabs.app. You can find a link for that as well to use some of their projections. That's kind of how I've been sorting through the marketplace a little bit, is finding stuff that pops over there, then checking the price cost. So one of the things we did this weekend on Friday, and just so you know too, we do a live before lock show Mondays at 5:30 Eastern and then Fridays at 5:30 Eastern. We were talking about someone who had, forgetting who it was in the chat, but someone had $90 and they were trying to see who to spend on. And we were looking at somebody like Anthony Davis. So I want to start with Anthony Davis. He's going to be the first guy that we look at over at SoRare. So you can see he's projecting right now for, what do we got here? 45.7. His cap is 47. That gives him a decent value, nothing crazy. But one of the things I wanted to look at is how much is Anthony Davis going for on the marketplace? Again, we're going to be looking in the limited card section. Of course, this is true for all of the different like limited, rare, super rare, and unique. But for me, for my bags, for my wallet, I'm going to be focusing mostly on the limited. And again, actually, one thing we should do, just for some clarification, because I mentioned MVP, right? If we go to upcoming tournaments, we go to limited champion, the difference between this, right, is you can throw an MVP in. You see you have a cap of 120 out of 120, right? We throw that in. It doesn't affect the cap. So you basically get a free square where you can play your best player with the highest cap, and it doesn't affect the rest of your cap. So then it becomes a little bit easier to put in the rest of your roster, right? So I can slide in like Kevin Porter Jr., and now my cap has been affected, okay? So just for some clarification on what that's going to look like. But let's go back over. Let's go to manager sales. Again, I'm going to look at manager sales. You can obviously go through auctions, but this is just helping us get a feel for what like the price points are right now. We'll sort by limited, and then we're going to go over to Anthony Davis, and I want to see what he's looking at right now. So you can, wow, 400. Okay, let's do lowest price first, $70. So you can get Anthony Davis right now for $70. And again, on Momentum Labs, we have him projecting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th overall. So 10th overall at $70. Let's compare him to some of the people that are right around this price range, right? Let's look at Jason Tatum next and see how Anthony Davis compares to someone like Jason Tatum with similar upside, similar ceilings. Let's see what this is looking like. And then bang, $124, right? So even though they're projecting just about the same, Anthony Davis seems to be a better value play. Now, with Anthony Davis comes a lot of stuff, right? Like, will his back implode? Will he miss a couple of games because of a fingernail or losing a tooth or something like that? Jason Tatum, a little bit more reliable. I also think people just like to root for Jason Tatum a little bit more than they like to root for Anthony Davis right now. So it's easier to be like, you know what? I'll spend some money on Jason Tatum. But I think that's kind of where we can find some value in some of these spots, right? So $70 for Anthony Davis feels like a nice value. Again, none of this is financial advice, just trying to find some opportunities to get a leg up without breaking the bank, right? Let's compare him to a few other players over here. How about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? I'm imagining his price popped a little bit more. I feel like sometimes you can get deals on guys who aren't playing on big market teams because, like, who is watching OKC? No disrespect, I am. I'm watching OKC. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has been absolutely on fire lately. Look at his limited price, and yeah, 128. So that makes sense. He's gone up. But again, comparing Anthony Davis, who has been averaging like 23 and 12 so far this season, to someone like SGA or Jason Tatum, which again, similar upside, and you're seeing a freaking $60 difference in price. So that's something to pay attention to. I don't think it's worth looking up Luka and Giannis and Ja Morant right now, or even Steph Curry or Nikola Jokic, because those guys are all going to be appropriately priced, right? If we go over to Jokic, I just said we weren't going to look him up. And then I said, hey, you know what? Let's look him up. But if we look at Jokic's lowest ask, 278. 278. How about Steph Curry? Steph Curry might be a little bit cheaper because I don't think people realize that he puts up triple dubs like he did last night. Well, Seth Curry, you can get for 14 bucks. That's not who we want. As you can see, only 6 on the marketplace for Steph. It's 153. So again, Anthony Davis kind of screaming some value if you're looking for a cheap MVP type play right there. LaMelo Ball's due back from injury soon. I was kind of interested to see like what he's been moving to questionable. I'm still not super high on. All right, does he not have any cards yet because of he might not have any cards? Yeah, he doesn't have any cards yet. He hasn't been playing, so that makes sense. So don't worry about LaMelo Ball. NBA Top Shot Talk. If you follow him, he's been doing really good content. He referenced Siakam earlier in the week. Siakam's been playing out of his freaking mind. He's got a low ask for 91. So that's another value that sticks out. Again, comparing these projections, right? 45.9. 45.7. You can get both of one for 70 bucks, one for 91. So again, Anthony Davis, similar projection, and is $20 cheaper than Pascal Siakam. It feels gross that we're continuing to say Anthony Davis is a good value, but he really is sticking out as someone that we could find, 70 bucks for someone who's got the same upside. Again, like, of course, Giannis and Luka and Ja are going to project a little bit higher, but Anthony Davis is right there in projections. Someone else who's been playing out of their mind that I wanted to get a feel for was Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell is like kind of saying like, hey, Cavs are for real. I'm an MVP. People forgot about me. $87. Darius Garland comes back. So I would actually say maybe we hold off on this and see if his numbers even out. He's got a cap of 45 right now. So I don't know if Donovan Mitchell is the direction we want to go, but is someone who's been playing like well above expectation. But again, Darius Garland comes back. Who knows? Maybe that makes scoring easier for him, but his assist numbers go down a little bit. He's been having some very big games. Let's keep looking here. I wanted to find some value a little bit lower down, right? We're in our cap situation. We're in this like high 40 range. Let's see if we can find someone in the 30s, right? Keldon Johnson, I'm going to continue. Let's actually see what Keldon Johnson's price point is. The Spurs have like 4 dudes on their team right now. They just letting people go left and right. Keldon Johnson is someone who can score the ball. He's picking up some of his peripheral stats a little bit more. They just need someone to do something on that team. And Keldon Johnson's their best player. And he's at 48 bucks. 48 bucks for Keldon Johnson. He's got super upside. He's obviously not going to get you these numbers up here. But we're looking at his projection of 38.4. I feel like his ceiling could get up to 45.50 though. I think we've seen it. We've seen Keldon Johnson score 30 real life points. We've seen him get double doubles. He can rebound the ball a little bit. So I don't hate that call. Let's keep scrolling down a little bit. Let's see if we can find someone in the 30s. Again, what we're trying to do here is be able to put together a serviceable MVP spot for our limited champion contest without having to completely break the bank. Because it's no fun when you're like, well, if I don't spend 2.9 ETH, I won't have a shot at any of these contests, right? All right, let's keep going down. Lauri Markkanen, I feel like we've seen his ceiling. Rudy Gobert's popping. I know Top Shot Talk mentioned him as well. I refuse to play Rudy Gobert, not because he's a bad play, but because deep down in my heart, I will not be rooting for Rudy. Not today. I just have a tough time with the Rudy streets. That's a me thing. That's something I have to deal with. Let's keep going. Let's keep looking over here. Devin Vassell is similar to the Keldon Johnson situation. He is someone with some upside. He's been battling a knee injury lately, so somebody to just pay attention to. But again, let's try to find some cheapos. Jalen Brunson. Let's look at Jalen Brunson. He's not super green over here. Cap of 35 with a projection of 32. But Jalen Brunson lately has shown that he can do massive double-doubles, even some triple-double capabilities. But in the double-double category, we saw a couple of performances from him with some big points and big assists. He has kind of ignited this New York Knicks offense to give them a shot at winning some games. A low ask of 32. So 32 for a cap of 35. It's not like super upside, but you're at least giving yourself a shot, right? And we like that. Let's actually see, because another interesting dynamic from this, right, is if you are taking a shot, if you do take a shot at one of these lower guys, right, where you spend like 30, 40 bucks on someone that has, I don't know, maybe they don't have that 70-point upside that we see from Luka, but they've got like 45 to 50-point upside, right? Let's check what Paul George's price jump was, because we looked at him the other day, and I think he was in the $50 range, because I was saying you could buy 2 of these. It was like Paul George and somebody else, for basically $100. It might have been Paul George and Brunson. It might have been that combo. But if we look at Paul George, right? Let's see what his ask is. He was at 50 just the other day. He put up 89 points the other day with Kawhi Leonard out. Let's see. He has jumped up $69. Nice. So that means it's like a little $20 upside immediately just from a solid performance. So I think there is like some plenty of opportunity if we see these middle of the road guys who maybe have gotten off to a slow start and then really take off. Again, I know I keep talking about Anthony Davis. He hasn't even started off slow. It's just the Lakers suck. So people think that he's sucking as well. And he's not. He's putting up like really good fantasy numbers. So I think there is some edge here of saying you get Jalen Brunson one week and then all of a sudden he puts up a 30 and 14 game. And people are like, you know what we need to be looking at? Jalen Brunson. And then all of a sudden you are able to do a little flip city and make some profit off that. Again, not financial advice, but just something to think about when you're scooping some of these cheaper type MVP plays, something you can get away with there. We're going to go back over to the Momentum Labs projection, see if we can find a couple other cheapos, right, that have a chance of like really, really popping. DeMar DeRozan, he's got a cap of 34 with a projection up of around 40. DeRozan's kind of interesting. Levine is coming back from injury, right? We saw him play last night and put up 29 real life points against the Brooklyn Nets, who refused to play defense. But I think with Levine's knee, there's no rush for Chicago to be like, all right, you're playing 35 minutes a game, every game. I think anytime we get a back-to-back, we might get DeRozan taking on more of the work share. Maybe Levine sits a little bit. So I do think DeRozan is someone who still has some upside. If we look at his price, the other guy I want to look at after we look at DeRozan is Cade Cunningham, who's been playing out of his freaking mind. The Detroit Pistons are doing exactly what they should right now, and that is losing competitive games. And Cade has been like almost a walking triple-double with like high scoring. The problem with Cade is that everyone also likes Cade. It's a rookie. He's a fun guy. He's a fun guy, but because he's a rookie, he's a sexy rookie. That price is going to be caked in, right? We have to find people nobody likes. DeRozan is kind of that guy, goes under the radar, $52. But honestly, comparing DeRozan to Brunson, as we just did a second ago, you're getting a much better deal on Brunson. But that is like to my point right there, right? When people think about DeMar DeRozan, they're already kind of excited about, they're like, oh yeah, DeRozan's a bucket getter, dude. He's a walking bucket. Jalen Brunson, I think they're just like, yeah, hard nose, puts on his work hat, gets his lunch pail, goes to work, right? They're not thinking massive fantasy output. And in those projections we were seeing, Brunson was actually projecting a little bit better than DeRozan. The other guy we're going to say Cade. I would guess that Cade's going for like 90 to 100 bucks right now. I think $85. Cade to me right now at the cap of 34. I would guess as this season progresses, Cade's cap is going to be north of 40. He's just got massive upside. We saw it in his last two games, right? I'm going to actually pull this up right now on my phone so that way it's not I'm not like finding a new screen to share, but if we look at what Cade's last couple of games are, on Monday night, they lost, what was the competitive game? They lost to the Bucks Monday night, right? And Cade put, volume is on there. Cade put up 27, 7, and 6. He did the same thing to the Warriors that weekend. And then also, who was it? I forget who they played on that Friday night too. So they've just been back-to-back, absolutely just putting up, massive numbers. So Cade, even at 85, again, because I feel like that cap is going to keep moving up. What's great about grabbing some of these guys that we're pointing out too is not only are they good MVP, like cheap MVP plays if you need some of these guys, they also will work great in your contender lineups as well. Let's try to find one or two more guys that we can target, maybe in this like low 30 range. Jakob Poeltl. He's interesting. Right here, the San Antonio Spurs center. Poeltl is like a big block guy, easy double type guy, and someone that, again, would fit pretty well with the contender, but again, also try not to break the bank and looking for some of these champion moments, right? Let's go over to Jakob. But there we go. Let's grab this right here. Who do we got over here? Jakob Poeltl is going for $26. That feels like a steal. That feels like a steal for Jakob. So he's someone I'm going to continue to monitor. And let's see if we can grab one more. And again, shout out Momentum Labs. You can find the link in the show notes to access some of these projections as well. A lot of great stuff that John Boy and Moment Nerd are putting together. Bam Adebayo. Bam Adebayo is a cap of 31. He is a frustrating fantasy play. I will say, like last night, he didn't really have a great game against the Warriors, but still kind of got there from the fantasy perspective. I bet Bam's a little bit more appropriately priced unless people are frustrated with his recent performance. But if we look at this, $60. Okay. 60 is kind of tough when we were looking at some of those other guys that are projecting in that same range. But anyways, I hope this was helpful. I also wanted to say we're going to do a fun little giveaway. This past week, listen, I don't want to brag, but this past week in the limited contender tournament, your boy snagged a Jeff Green from the Nuggets, who, if Michael Porter Jr. misses some games because of his back or other weird stuff, Jeff Green becomes kind of a fun play. We're going to give away that Jeff Green limited contender reward. In order to qualify for it, all you got to do is comment on this video. And why don't do this? Tell me who your favorite cheaper MVP play is. Put that in the comments for a shot at winning a sick Jeff Green limited contender moment. And this is the other thing I will say. You cannot pick Luka, Giannis, Jokic, Ja, Steph. Who am I missing? Somebody else. Any obvious guys. Find some off-the-radar guys that aren't breaking the bank. Again, if you sat through this whole thing and still haven't signed up for SoRare, send me your address so I can give you an award, because that's really impressive. But seriously, if you haven't signed up, take a look at our link in our show notes. Sign up, get yourself 20 free commons. You buy 5 things off the marketplace, you get a 6th one free. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at TeamHoldNFT, or as you can see right there, at Mike Zakarian. And look forward to diving more into SoRare. Just a reminder, too, we'll be back this Friday at 5:30 Eastern, doing a live before lock, trying to build our lineups together as we get the late-breaking NBA news for this Week 5 slate. Join the Discord. Just do everything in the show notes. Thanks for being here, and don't forget to comment your favorite MVP play for a shot at Jeff Green.